We often imagine success as something magical, like a spark of genius or a moment of destiny. We look at billionaires, sports legends, and cultural icons and think they were just born different. But Malcolm Gladwell, in his brilliant book Outliers, The Story of Success, completely flips that idea on its head. Gladwell, known for blending research with irresistible storytelling, doesn't just tell us who succeeded, he explains why. And spoiler, it's not just about talent or working hard. It's about timing, opportunity, culture, persistence, and even something as small as the month you were born. By the end of this journey, you'll see success through a brand new lens, and you might even start spotting opportunities in your own life that you never noticed before. So, let's unravel these hidden truths together. Lesson 1. The myth of the self-made man. We live in a culture that worships the self-made success story. We idolize entrepreneurs like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, or Elon Musk as though they were lone wolves, pulling themselves up by sheer genius and grit. But Gladwell forces us to pause and ask, was it really just them? Bill Gates wasn't the only smart kid in the 1970s, but he happened to attend one of the few high schools in the world that had a computer terminal, at a time when most universities didn't. That access gave him tens of thousands of hours of coding experience before he even reached college. The same goes for the Beatles. People remember their explosive rise in the 60s, but few know about the grueling nights they spent in Hamburg, Germany, performing 8-hour sets, 7 days a week. That wasn't glamour. It was discipline, practice, and repetition. By the time they became overnight successes, they had already out-practiced and outperformed almost every other band on the planet. Gladwell's point is crystal clear. No one is truly self-made. Behind every success story is a hidden ecosystem of opportunities, timing, and support. That doesn't diminish individual brilliance, but it does remind us that greatness is built on a foundation much larger than a single person. Lesson 2. The 10,000-hour rule. This is Gladwell's most famous insight, and for good reason. He argues that to achieve mastery in any field, whether music, sports, or business, you need roughly 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. That's not casual effort or half-hearted training. It's focused, challenging, sweat-drenched commitment. Mozart wasn't a prodigy simply because he was gifted. He practiced obsessively from a very young age. The Beatles didn't dominate music because of luck. They spent more than 10,000 hours performing before anyone called them legends. Bill Gates had those 10,000 hours too, coding day and night when almost no one else even had access to a computer. The overnight success stories we idolize are never actually overnight. They're years, even decades, of consistent practice hidden behind the spotlight. But here's where Gladwell flips the narrative again. Not everyone gets the chance to log those hours. Most kids don't stumble upon a world-class music program or a rare computer lab. So while 10,000 hours is a requirement for greatness, opportunity determines who actually gets to put in that time. Success is the marriage of relentless effort and the right environment. Lesson 3. Timing is everything. Imagine this. Two equally talented hockey players, one born in January, the other in November. In Canada's youth hockey leagues, the age cutoff is January 1st. That means the January-born player is nearly a full year older than his November-born competitor in the same age bracket. At 8 years old, that difference is enormous, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Coaches notice the January kid, give him more training, better opportunities, and soon he's on the fast track. The November kid? Often overlooked, benched, or even dropped. This tiny advantage snowballs year after year into what Gladwell calls the Matthew effect. The rich get richer, the skilled get more skilled, and the overlooked fall further behind. And it doesn't just apply to hockey. Look at the tech boom. Most of the world's computer pioneers, including Gates, Jobs, and Paul Allen, were born in the mid-1950s. Old enough to be young adults when the personal computer revolution began, but not so old that they missed it. What does this teach us? Timing isn't luck, it's destiny. Sometimes, the biggest difference between success and failure is being born at the right time, in the right place, with the right conditions. It's not fair, but it's reality. Lesson 4. The hidden power of culture. Culture shapes us more than we realize. Gladwell tells the chilling story of airplane crashes that weren't caused by mechanical failures, but by human communication. In cultures with strict hierarchies, co-pilots often felt too intimidated to correct a captain, even when disaster loomed. Respect and obedience, values ingrained by culture, tragically led to silence in moments when speaking up could have saved hundreds of lives. On the flip side, culture can be an engine for success. Think about Asian students excelling in math. It's not because of innate talent, it's cultural legacy. For centuries, rice farming demanded extraordinary patience, attention to detail, and relentless work ethic. That cultural DNA carried forward, giving generations an edge in disciplines requiring precision and persistence. Culture is a double-edged sword. It can limit us through rigid traditions or propel us through inherited strengths. Success often comes from recognizing how our cultural legacies influence us, and then harnessing them consciously rather than being unconsciously controlled by them. Lesson 5. Legacy matters. We like to think our lives are brand new, unshaped by the past, but Gladwell proves otherwise. He shows how the struggles, sacrifices, and values of previous generations ripple through time, shaping our success today. Take the Jewish immigrant families in early 20th century New York. Many worked in garment shops, enduring brutal hours, discrimination, and instability. Yet in those hardships, they learned independence, business acumen, and resilience. Their children didn't inherit wealth, but they inherited a mindset, the ability to build, negotiate, and adapt. That's why so many of their descendants became lawyers, doctors, and entrepreneurs. The foundation of their success wasn't money. It was the cultural and psychological capital passed down from their parents' struggles. Legacy is often invisible, but it matters. Your work ethic, your values, your definition of success, it might not be entirely yours. It may have been shaped generations before you were even born. That realization changes how we see our own lives. We're not just writing our stories, we're continuing a much bigger one. Lesson 6. The Matthew effect. Success compounds, so do setbacks. The Matthew effect is Gladwell's way of explaining why small advantages, given early, often grow into massive success over time. He borrows from the biblical verse, "For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance." In plain terms, the rich get richer. Think about a child who is slightly taller, slightly stronger, or slightly older than their classmates. Coaches spot their talent early, teachers give them more attention, and parents get encouraged to invest more in their growth. That little head start snowballs into better teams, better classes, and eventually, better life outcomes. Meanwhile, kids without those advantages fall behind, not because they lack ability, but because they never got the same investment. The same effect can be seen in careers. Someone lucky enough to land their first job under a visionary mentor may end up with opportunities, insights, and a network their peers can only dream of. Over time, the gap widens, not due to talent alone, but because early advantages multiply. Gladwell makes us confront an uncomfortable truth. Much of success isn't meritocratic. It's cumulative privilege disguised as talent. Lesson 7. Effort alone isn't enough. We love to preach, hard work pays off. But Gladwell shows us that effort, while essential, doesn't guarantee success if opportunity doesn't exist. Imagine a brilliant child in a poor school district, with no access to advanced classes, inspiring mentors, or extracurricular activities. That child might work as hard as any Ivy League-bound student, but the system limits how far they can go. Take professional athletes. No matter how hard you train, if you weren't born in the right place with the right leads, coaches, or exposure, you may never be discovered. Gates could practice for thousands of hours because he had access to computers. Without that, his brilliance might have gone unnoticed. Effort matters. No one gets far without it, but opportunity is the multiplier. Hard work is the fuel. Opportunity is the engine. Together, they create momentum. Separately, they often stall. Gladwell's challenge to us is clear. It's not enough to just tell people to work hard. We must create systems that give everyone a fair chance to put their effort to use. Lesson 8. Success is social. No one wins alone. Gladwell destroys the myth of the lone genius. Even the brightest minds need communities, mentors, and networks to thrive. Consider Gates again. Yes, he was smart, but he also had a group of equally passionate friends to code with, bounce ideas off, and compete against. That environment of collaboration supercharged his progress. The Beatles weren't just four guys with instruments. They were part of a larger music scene, exchanging ideas, learning from other bands, and getting gigs because of social connections. Even geniuses like Albert Einstein worked within intellectual circles that sharpened their ideas. In other words, greatness isn't born in isolation. It's nurtured in ecosystems. Success is social, built on relationships, collaboration, and shared effort. Gladwell pushes us to recognize this. If you want to grow, surround yourself with people who challenge and elevate you. The lone wolf myth might sound heroic, but in reality, the pack is what makes you stronger. Lesson 9. Hard work plus meaning equals fulfillment. There's work that drains you, and there's work that fuels you. Gladwell emphasizes that truly successful people don't just grind for the sake of grinding. They find meaning in their work. Take the rice farmers in Asia. For centuries, rice farming demanded long, backbreaking hours, meticulous attention to detail, and year-round dedication. Unlike wheat farming, where the harvest is seasonal, rice requires constant care. The result? A cultural legacy of patience, discipline, and the belief that effort equals reward. That mindset explains why many Asian students excel in subjects like math, where persistence and precision matter more than quick flashes of genius. They were raised in a culture where hard work was not just a burden but a meaningful expression of character. In contrast, many people view work as punishment, something to escape. But Gladwell shows us that when work has meaning, when you see it as building something bigger than yourself, you push harder, endure longer, and reach higher. Fulfillment comes when effort aligns with purpose. That's not just success, it's satisfaction. Lesson 10. Redefining success, the bigger picture. At the heart of Outliers, Gladwell makes one of his boldest points. Success is not just about individual brilliance. It's about context, culture, timing, opportunity, legacy, effort, social networks, hidden advantages. When we worship individuals as geniuses, we ignore the systems and circumstances that help them thrive. This has profound implications. If we truly believe success is only about talent, then we'll keep rewarding the already privileged and overlooking hidden gems. But if we understand that success is shaped by opportunities, we can redesign education, sports, and workplaces to be more inclusive and fair. Imagine how much untapped potential exists in kids born in the wrong month, in students from underfunded schools, in communities that never get the same chances. Redefining success means we stop asking, who is the smartest, and start asking, who had the right chances? It means building systems that don't just elevate the already fortunate, but unlock the greatness waiting in overlooked places. Gladwell's final message is empowering. Success isn't just destiny, it's design. And if it's designed, then we can change it. So, after exploring Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers, I have to ask you, which idea shook you the most? Was it the 10,000-hour rule? The strange influence of your birth month? Or the idea that culture and legacy matter just as much as talent? This book forces us to rethink success, not as a solo journey, but as a complex web of effort, opportunity, and history. And maybe, just maybe, it invites us to be more intentional about creating opportunities for others, not just ourselves. Here on the Summary Shelf, we break down books that don't just inform you, they transform how you see the world. If you loved this deep dive into Outliers, there's plenty more where that came from. Make sure you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more powerful summaries that give you tools to grow. And now, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. If success isn't only about hard work, what role do you think opportunity has played in your own life? Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, success is never an accident. It's a story written by effort, culture, and opportunity.